Hello everybody, Sabrina the Mystic here. Today's video is going to be very different. It's the beginning of very different videos that I'm going to be sharing on this channel. And if you've been following me, you may want to follow along. You will see why I have gone through some of the things that I have gone through. Some of the things that I was influenced to do that I didn't even realize I was being influenced to do. So this is a bonus video for the week. As you can see, I'm sitting in front of my altar to Shiva. I don't know if you can tell. That looks like a large lingam. I've turned a candle holder upside down and put the 3 white lines. On that white paper there are 3 snakes, Vasuki, and the 2 snakes on either side, which I've just recently learned what that is about. They had come to me in my dream when I was initiated into the Shiva path. What is this video about? Well, the title should be something like an entire demonic coven has been dismantled, brought down, or destroyed. What is that? What kind of a video is this on Casting Cauldron, the Modern Mystic, because that is my new name now. This could be a very long video. This could be one that I have to share with you what I have been experiencing since Monday, Dark Moon Amavasya, Shiva Puja at Temple. Something very remarkable happened. And I know it was my spirit team that I'm always in contact with. And I don't know who they all are. Okay? Sometimes they change. They've been in the background and I didn't know. They were actually ready to come forward and show me who they are. I've been on the temple path for 2 years. And I was led to it because I was being attacked by a demon. And this is what I mean by I had no idea what these things really were. I don't have all the answers. I probably never will have all the answers, but I know that there's a variety of dark entities that can occupy this earth plane that we live in. They come here specifically to keep us blind. And as crazy as this sounds, a lot of these things we've been hearing are true. But what are they? Well, this particular demon, I actually came to see. I was blessed in that it was revealed to me. I was shown. And that's because I was led to actually form an acquaintance with this demon wearing a human suit. I don't know how it is that they decide to come here and be born and walk around as a human, except that I guess they're given an assignment from the underworld. And I have other messages coming through from humans that are receiving them, especially since this has happened. I spoke about what happened a little bit at the temple on the dark moon. One psychic reader described it as Shiva's arrows being thrown. And I've described this as the water of Shiva being thrown on every single person through a flower. Flower was taken. We did our puja offering. The flower and the water was taken and the priest was blessing everyone. And as he came closer and closer, this electronic device in the room was going berserk, louder and louder, faster and faster as it got closer to me. I'll tell you what it was. It was a fly zapper. I went to temple early, 10 minutes early. The priest was getting everything set up, finishing what he needed to do. And I went over to sit in front of Vishnu. Vishnu is said to be the cosmic order. Vishnu is the deity, the God that keeps everything together and balances things out. When things become very, very unjust, Vishnu comes in and says, that's enough. It is time for balance. It is time for order. It is time for justice. The justice card had come out. I was reading every day for a while lately in position 1. And then there was the 8 of Wands, that looks like these arrows that are going a certain direction. And I sat and I started chanting to Vishnu. And there was this big fly zapper. So it's been very hot and humid here. We're having a heat wave in the United States. And it looked like a tennis racket. I thought, oh wow, that's a really nice fly zapper. I've seen some smaller ones at the Dollar Tree. And it was sitting in a stand. And there was a fly bothering me. So I grabbed it and I was trying to get it and I didn't know how to turn it on. And so I said, Darshan, which I believe is the name for priest or title. Darshan, I can't get the fly zapper to work. And so he tried it and then he opened it. It had a battery. And he said, the battery must be dead. I said, oh, it has a USB. You can charge it. So he went and he got the cable. And he set it over by the plug, by the front door. Not the front door, but the door to the temple. I think it was on the karaoke machine or right next to the karaoke machine, which was off. So now the fly zapper is plugged in and charged. People are slowly starting to come. There was quite a lot of people there. It was Amavasya, dark moon on a Monday, which is considered very lucky, very auspicious. People were coming for blessings. So after everybody participated in giving the offerings to the Shiva Lingam, he started the process of coming around to bless everyone with the sprinkling of the holy water. And the fly zapper started going zip, bzz, 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 bzz. And the more that he blessed people and was coming closer to me, the more that thing was going bzz, 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 bzz. I mean, it was, I can't even make that sound. In my magical practice, at my altar, when I've called out to Jupiter, I have heard electrical zaps at my altar. I've asked for a key to be charged, and I put it in the dirt, and I laid there to meditate. Zip, 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 zip. And my familiar came over, my tabby cat came over to investigate. And I'm like, wow. So Jupiter has that aspect to it. I have been suffering an infestation attack of flies off and on for 2 years since I moved in here. It's a long story, guys. It's the 3-year story. In particular, over the past 13 months, when I told this demon, I can't help you. It is an indication that someone who's either sick or dying, right? Because flies represent rot. They come around things that are rotting. And they were gone, I think, last summer for the most part, but now they've returned. And I know it's not normal. I have more flies than most people. People around me don't even have flies. I had a neighbor tell me they don't even have flies. So anyway, and I literally couldn't figure out why they were coming in, how they were getting in. I'll tell you why. I discovered why. So in trying to get fresh air in here, I open my window, I open my patio door, I close the screen. I try my best to keep the patio screen closed as much as possible. I have to go out to water my plants 3 times a day onto the balcony. Doesn't matter. As soon as I open that screen, boy, they're coming in. And I had birds. I had monitor spirits with these birds. And that was happening at my previous apartment. Right at my door, only my door, in front of my door, my bush, and in my, on my car and under my car. Just me. So these things at that time were meant to try to keep me feeling I needed to pretty much stay home, I guess. Abusers will always work to isolate you. So the flies started up again, and as I mentioned in my previous video, well, let me finish the story. That fly zapper was going berserk. The closer it got to me, I mean, it was just, and we were starting to notice it. People were getting large eyes and turning their heads and looking at each other and looking at the fly zapper. And as it came closer to me, the lady next to me looked at me and was smiling, and I just said, Shiva's here. That's all I could think of. Vishnu and Shiva are friends. And he got to me, and of course it went berserk. And then the 2 people next to me, it was still zapping. Everybody got a blessing, guys. I am seeing things now happen around me that represent a blessing. So the priest never stopped. As I said in my last video, he did notice what was going on. I really don't know if anybody else was quite, not everybody was reacting to it. Just a few people were like, what in the world is going on? Maybe Darshan knew it was a blessing. So the lady next to me had told me, I have a dress for you. I've been holding on to it. I haven't been able to contact you. Oh, wonderful, thank you. And I told her, my birthday was coming, and that'll be a really nice birthday present, because I just can't seem to find the proper garments to wear to temple. Hopefully it fits. We'll see how it goes. So while I had, in the meantime, like I've said in my previous video, put essential oils that are supposed to work. Lavender didn't work. Peppermint didn't work. Fiery wall of protection didn't work. On the track, on the frame, on the window, on a cotton ball in the corners, here and at the patio door. This is a battle, guys. This has literally been a battle. It's been a distraction. And this distraction is nerve-wracking. At the same time that it is meant to represent the tiny little cord that was still attached to me and this demon, it was also it wrecks your peace, okay, and your nervous system. I don't know if you can hear, but it's pretty quiet in here right now. And I've been able to get a lot of spiritual information coming to me. So the next day there was one fly. I need to show you, all right, because over the past few years, Not only have I been seeing as above, so below. If you saw that video, I had worked with an astrological spirit, and I began to see things that were going on in the heavens were literally being mirrored down here on earth. And it was being shown to me by the row of cars in the parking lot, and one of them with their headlights on in front of my door in my space. What's been happening since last fall or last September, after I saw this geometric shape moving in my third eye, was I began to see the mirror reflection of what's inside being reflected outside. I've recently mentioned we have to pay attention to what's going on around us, because they are signs about what is going on and what is happening. But after seeing the geometric shape, I began being pulled into this person's dreams. Now this time I wasn't being influenced to believe that we were in any type of a romantic relationship or living together, but rather he was griping, moaning, and complaining about the situation that he was in that was falling apart. And I just sat there and didn't say a word. Now, previously in dreams, I had been influenced to literally say things that he wanted me to say. And that horrified me when I woke up and I realized that dream doesn't make any sense. I'm not getting involved with someone who's 25 or 26 years old. Why did I say that? And there's more to that you're going to learn, but you're going to have to follow me in the coming months. It's entanglement, guys, with narcissists, which are demon-possessed. And a lot of us empaths pretty much have our lives scripted out for us once we have become entangled with a narcissist. And a lot of us are born into that bloodline through a parent who is possessed by a demon. Freaky stuff, guys. This is not for everyone, okay? I'm probably going to gain a different type of audience who doesn't want to hear that there is not any type of malevolent magic, which I've said I don't do anyway. But this was actually performed by a spirit, not a spirit, okay? An entire army of spirits, a legion of spirits was there in the temple with Shiva. Yes, Shiva has other beings with him, and there's two snake sisters beside Vasuki, the ones that were talking to me in the dream. The name is Manasa and Nitya. And I'm only beginning to remember Hindu mythology and Shaivism. It's very, very old, and it's very, very powerful, guys. And this is 3. Shiva and the 2 snakes beside him with Vasuki. Vasuki and the 2 snakes, the 2 sisters. 3. Trinity. Shiva is a trinity with Parvati and Ganesha. And then Vishnu was there, I think, with the electrical zapping, and the fly zapper was really meant to just stay with me, please. Really meant to show me, you're not going to have this attack anymore. It's done. And it's done in the biggest way that you could possibly imagine. Not by me, but by these spirits that said, this is enough. You were never meant to win. This demon that came after me has done a lot to a lot of people previously, but could not get me, which was considered a bigger fish. So all the while that they were getting other people and turning them, it was the process of getting to the point where they were ultimately going to be defeated. So the day after puja, I have one fly. I'm going to insert the clip of that video here now. You can think what you want, but you are a witness. I received the message that those who were attacking me are dropping like flies. Flies were a very big part of what was going on over here. I don't have any insecticides. I do not use them. Only if I have swatted a fly would it be dead on the ground. Yes, I need to clean my windowsill. As I'm listening to the message about them dropping like flies, I turned my head and I saw, how can there just be a dead fly? I've never seen this before. All right. This to me was remarkable in itself. I don't use insecticide. I've never had a dead fly, not on its own. That's not a fly I had swatted because I saw one fly and I left it alone. But by the afternoon, I don't know if it was the later afternoon on Tuesday or that evening, I'm like, what is that on the windowsill? On the windowsill, not in the track. One. Just dead. Now, 2 years ago, I made a video about doing a banishing, and I did put my banishing oil on a candle, and I did get rid of the flies, but then I had roaches. Oh my God, you guys. And this person, this demon had screamed at me at night at my window. This is paranormal stuff, guys. And then I began to receive messages that he was dying. When you unplug from a narcissist and they don't have a good supply of empaths, they're not well. And for whatever reason, this one was already kind of diseased, is what I've been told. And he was dying. Well, I just started having a battle with roaches, and that continued for 6 months. It took 6 months at least to get rid of them. Now, I'd been following some psychic readers who were actually describing a lot of the things that were actually going on with me. Later, she finally channeled that someone was a weird kind of an entity and she got cockroach vibes. I might have to make another video about how I discovered he was a demon. I don't know what type of a demon. I don't know what they're called. I don't know where they're from. I don't know what faction. This is a gigantic network of dark entities, guys. I'm only sharing what I have experienced and what I know. Still no flies. On Wednesday, no flies. Thursday, no flies. I'm like, what's going on? What do I do with this piece, right? I finally got my piece back. Wow. Now, I had been able to realize that I needed to go out and do more DoorDash, so that's what I started doing on Wednesday. And I started making money, which I need right now because I've been affected. When these people are attacking you magically, they're generally trying to target your income because that can cause you stress, that can cause your health to start to deteriorate, right? That can cause arguments within the relationships in the home, all kinds of things. I was not getting enough work in April and May. So even before I saw the flies, I was experiencing things, and I knew it was time to get out of that work anyway, but I hadn't had anything else really flourish. So I've applied for a couple of jobs, and I didn't get them. So I went out to do DoorDash. I've been able to catch up on a couple of my smaller bills, and I'm actually making more money at DoorDash than I would have at another job because I've got 3 years of doing it. I've maintained my status, thank the goddess. I am gold with 5 stars. I get first priority, 2% off gas. It's really good for me right now because I have to play catch up. I got an organization now that is working on my truck, and I have another appointment next week. And all I have to do is pay for the part that needs to be replaced, which is very inexpensive. I can do some DoorDash orders and pay for that. So I'm finally getting back to gaining momentum. I think I'll just be able to do subbing once a week, maybe twice. Whatever comes through, I might do 3 days, 1 week. We all have more energy in the first couple of months of the school year, right? So I'll take advantage of that. And then when I get tired, I'll just do 1 day a week, or I'll take whatever comes in. And then if things are slow, well, then I have my DoorDash. I'm not giving up the DoorDash. I'll be doing that on the weekends and on the days that I don't have substitute teaching work coming in. I was told my truck is fine. It'll be fine to drive. Just drive it. Just drive it. And as I keep working and gaining some money to put a down payment on a smaller car that gets better gas mileage, that'll help me out even more for the DoorDash that I'm doing to supplement my income. I still have oils and I still have candle services available. And I really want to do, I've said before, defense against the dark arts. But I haven't had any takers. A lot of that has to do with the fact that this demon was actually a viewer. He told me. And I've mentioned that we were communicating in a telepathic channeling way. And I was writing down everything that was coming through. But he was never actually led to speak to me, and he was never actually led to come over here and visit me or anything like that. Because they need you to willingly submit to them. That's how it works. Now, even though he had been tapping into me, watching me, tapping into me and my energy, and that's how he was basically staying healthier, he was tethered to other people to stay alive. This was a very, very sick demon. It's a low vibing entity, and frequency is the word that I'm hearing these other intuitives use. I don't know how to measure frequency, guys. Sometimes I hear high-pitched noises. High-pitched ringing is usually a sign from my guides. Heads up, something's coming. But when it comes to what type of frequency I'm in or anybody else, I don't know how to measure that. But one day this demon said, "Find me." And I said, "What? Where are you? You're not over there at that apartment complex anymore, I know, because you fell out of favor with your enablers and your family, I think. The ones that let you stay with them, some, they were experiencing things, and I could see where they were disinviting him. They weren't including him in their activities anymore. And in fact, he needed to move. So I could tell. After about, 9 months? They only had 9-month leases over there. So when his friend became official with his girlfriend, it was like, okay, you're old enough. You've had 9 months and we're not adopting you. So I think he was going to have to move. I made no attempt to interact with him as he continually tried to get my attention aggressively. That was his job. But these lower ranking demons, they are not able to generate their own energy. They don't want to work. They lie, they cheat, they steal, they borrow money, they never pay it back. And in this case, he had told me one time he was having issues with drinking, which I suspected very strongly because I'd seen him do it. And was having a house party and was getting high. And something about a spoon, I thought, holy mother of God. These people are really into everything, guys. Drugs, alcohol. They'll ask you for money. I really do think that this one was also a romance scammer. I really, really do. I was getting weird messages to add strange celebrities on Facebook as a friend. Oh, the one I remember in particular was Tom Selleck. I'm like, what? This is a catfish. This demon was catfishing women who were probably widowed, divorced, alone, with money and a house and a car, and were very kind-hearted and maternal. But he was barking up the wrong tree with me. He never consciously knew that. He didn't even know he was a demon, because when that image came out in the candle wax, guys, I had received a message from him that he was dying. I think the shock of seeing what he actually was, because I had described it, that I was trying to, someone reached out to me for help. They said they had an attachment and they wanted me to try to get it off. So I tried. And when I asked for the truth to be revealed, out came this image in the wax of this demon. And when he saw it, I think the awareness of what he was scared him to death. He managed to stay alive and tether himself to other people. When I told him, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do for you. I can't help you. He said, please remember me. I did cry at that time. I wasn't sure what I was looking at. And that was it. I completely cut off my my mind and my energy to have any more telepathic communication. And over the next couple of months, I ended up seeing this geometric shape. And then in September, I was pulled into his dream, but this time I was a witness, and he was telling me that he and his lady were coming to an end. And as I just listened, he was like next to me with his elbows on his knees and his hands, his face practically in his hands, right? I just thought, okay, I don't know why I'm here, you know. I don't know why I need to be here and hear this. I was witnessing, just witnessing. He was no longer able to try to influence me into any type of a romantic relationship. It was just whining and complaining that I cannot see her unless I make an appointment, and then I only get 2 hours. Well, I know what that is, guys. I think that the house party was the catalyst for somebody calling the police or Child Protective Services, and he might have been deemed a danger to whatever child that they had. I think he got someone pregnant. And the only way that he could see her and the child was to go to the visitation center. I've lived long enough to know how these things work, guys. All right? So there was a confession about what was going on there. He did not know that I know as much as I do because, you know, I've experienced a great many things in my life. So, and there were some other things that happened in the dream that were very interesting. When someone asked, "What are you doing here?" and I just said, "He invited me." So this is what I was led to see as a witness. But then I went to go to the dealership. I'm pulling up in my truck, going to see if they've got some Camrys on the lot. And there's a blonde boy, about 7 or 8 years old. And he turns around and he goes, "That's what I want. I want a truck like that." And I thought, wow, this looks like my neighbor who was obsessed, very angry when he saw that I had a truck. And I dreamed that he was jealous, and I saw footsteps one time in the snow, like someone had gone beside it and then turned this way and looked inside. They're very, very covetous. They're very materialistic. They're very jealous. And, you know, they want other people to provide everything that they want. And up until that point, he had been able to pretty much get people to give him what he wanted. So now 2 days after, I think it was late Thursday afternoon or a Friday last week. It's a fairly nice day. We finally got a cool day. I open the window. I go, "What is this?" All these dead flies were on the track. I'm like, dead flies? There's more dead flies. I haven't had any flies. I didn't even know where they were coming from. And now there's a whole bunch on the track. But remember, there was the one that was outside of the track on the windowsill. When I went to sit down and put on my shoes, I went, oh my gosh, the Coven, the entire Coven has been hit. This is a sign. And for those of you who don't really want to buy into this, that's fine. This is not for you. For those who want to learn, take it as a seed right now, and the information will grow with you later. 13 dead flies. That's usually the number that's in a coven. On the track. Outside the track was the one. I realized later, this one that came after me has failed his assignment, and he has been cast out. He was having heart failure, he mentioned it. And I watched an episode on House. It was a clip that came up. A demon-possessed pathological female was in for her heart problem. She was dying. So this is the area that I think a lot of them do get hit, and the organ gives out. I believe he is now in the desert phase of his existence. He's not going back to the underworld. They don't want anything to do with him. They've thrown him under the bus. This is what they do. The family that meant everything to him, and the assignments where he could continue to get benefits and rewards from people that he would be able to influence because he was accessing the energy from the network. He began to feel powerful. He got arrogant. And he let it get to his head. And he would never give up on trying to get me to continually reach out and communicate and energetically tether with him. And it's taken me some time to understand, 13 months, what actually all had been going on. And when I went camping with my friend, and we came back the next day, and my garage was trashed. And I've talked about this. This thing has wings. My balcony was trashed when I was doing a working to separate him from his family because I thought that was the problem. He didn't want that. There's a long line of male witches in his family that are doing malevolent magic. Okay? He's not able to remain in the underworld or connected to the underworld. He's now going to be wandering on the earth plane. He'll be an earthbound existence or an earthbound spirit. If you ask me, that's a blessing. It's an evolvement for me and for him. This whole thing has helped me evolve to where I am today. Now, eventually someone can come along and actually guide him. I told him, when the time comes and you pass, I will guide you and cross you over into the light. And then you can actually be reoriented maybe, and then actually find out who you are, you know, what your name is. And he repeated his name. But there's still a very serious lack of awareness, right? Earthbound souls that choose to ignore the light and they don't go in it, they remain earthbound. We know that as psychics and mediums. Many people are still trying to say, many religions are still trying to say, there aren't any ghosts, there aren't any spirits. But some of them do know there are spirits, there are earthbound spirits, and they need to be crossed over. And if you've developed a rapport with one of them and they trust you, then maybe they will go to the light. And then maybe he can come back and be reborn as a human, experience what it means to be hurt, and have empathy for others. Right? It's a series of evolvement. I don't know. I just know that what I've been shown is an entire coven has been hit. Here is something I just found opening up this living room window. Inside here are dead flies. Now you may not quite understand what I'm trying to say here, but I never have dead flies. Holy crap. I found one dead fly over here. the other day, yesterday, which I never have dead flies. Okay, I just had flies. Over here is where they primarily were coming somehow. And look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I told you I normally have about 8 flies in the morning, and they're never dead. So whatever it was that was coming around me that was low vibing, my goodness, there was no essential oils in here that were working. There just wasn't. So there was a little bit of a cord that was still tethered to me from one person who might have been connected to another person. And there was covetousness and, jealousy and different types of energies that were wanting to stay connected to me. Like hitch themselves to my wagon. Ooh, there's more dead flies. Did you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. There's 12. And then the message that came through to me from someone that I've been watching was people are dropping like flies. So these people can't attach to me and my energy anymore. You can't keep putting out fires when you're constantly being attacked. It was relentless. And these are the messages I'm hearing from these two people that are intuitive in getting messages and delivering them. This was a relentless attack. This warlock, this demon, has been cast out, and they're suffering a humiliation, which is generally what they do to other people. They've gone into hiding. I believe they're in some type of a desert type of an existence. Could be having a meltdown, a psychotic episode. But everything has started toppling down like a house of cards or dominoes. Some things will happen faster than others, but I believe there's those that they have no protection anymore. This coven has been cut off like a leaf from a branch on the stem of a plant, or the stem taken off from the main stem of the plant. There's other stems, there's other branches, there's other leaves, but they are cut off. They have no access to the network. And I was told he has no power, no magic. Without that network, they don't have it. So there's nobody that's going to be able to send anything to me, and they don't want to either. A lot of them, I was told, are dropping like flies. The message was, the entire coven is dropping like flies. And this is what I saw over here. So when you have an alignment with a powerful, benevolent spirit, they generally have soldiers with them as well, or angels. Archangel Michael has a legion. These other entities and networks, they are a legion. They are a vast network with a lot. But once a group that was following is cut off, they get exposed. for everything they've been doing. Whatever type of criminal activities they've been doing, they are now getting caught. The people that were in the law enforcement, the judicial system, whatever else, they can't cover for them anymore because they've already done it more than a few times, and they're going to be under the microscope, and they're going to be examined and investigated. And so they have to throw everybody else under the bus. This is how it works. This is what I'm seeing. And this is what I'm intuitively feeling and not brushing aside. Finally, the last thread is cut. And I'm able to receive these messages and realize I'm not the only one talking about these things. I'm not claiming to be anything other than a human being who's evolving. And in the past, when I talked about the human, I was getting a lot of trolls and I was getting a lot of attacks. But all the trolls, all the enablers, all the spies, all the flying monkeys, they're also being hit. They're having problems. And they're so busy with their own problems, they're not going to mess with me anymore. The word is getting around. Holy crap, we never knew this person would have anything like that they could call on to attack the entire coven. Not just the magic. You can't keep attacking the magic when you've got more than a few people that are constantly sending you things. This is a sign that there's more than one person. So, what happened last night I need to talk about now before I forget. With people that are dropping like flies, to me this means death. One of the messages was the warlock who attacked is dying. He's passing. Others would be passing as well. It could be the elders. It could even be the one that's higher up from this one, who was really only doing the most to advance within the family. This is why I said gain rank. He wanted to be deemed good enough, but you never are, guys. You never are. These people are insatiable. They've got all these, insatiable behaviors. And do you think those dark entities are ever going to tell you you're good enough, we love you? Please. Oh, please. If I start a podcast, it'd be called, Oh, Please. Last night, I dreamed I was in a room. I was in a house. There was a young woman who walked into the room next to that room, and all of a sudden became frightened out of her mind, screaming. The screaming was so real. It was incredibly loud. She was screaming at the top of her lungs. Horrifying screaming, horror movie screaming at this, in this room next to where I was standing, like something was coming through the door to kill her any second. So people that have been indoctrinated and initiated into this group and this coven that this demon was attached to, had fears and had issues they never tried to examine. So what happens now, as this is disbanded and they're unprotected, everything they've done is coming back to them. And they're frightened day and night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're screaming at the top of their lungs, scared to death that any second they're going to be murdered. Not just drop dead of a heart attack, but attacked and murdered. And I thought, I had compassion for this young female, but at the same time, wow, I wish the screaming would stop. Then she starts to walk to the next room to try to get away, but she's still screaming. She's out of her mind. And then the screaming stops. She's heading towards the only other way out, which is a window. And I start thinking, no, it's all happening very fast, okay? And it's like she's in a trance now, and she goes to the window. She opens the window. She steps up on the ledge, and I'm thinking, no, right? No. Don't do that. But boom, takes a step. And to my horror, I had to watch this female drop. And I remember thinking in the dream, that's my sister. Now, this could be a human, this could be an empath who got lost, who got initiated and got lost. So, I don't know what's going to happen after that. It was horrible, okay? But unfortunately, when people get to a frequency where there's no hope, hope doesn't exist, they're hopeless. And in this case, psychologically entrained to have nothing but fear and anxiety. Their fears and their anxieties are preyed upon. Come into the fold, you'll have security, you'll have money, everything will be okay. So, I do believe that the sign of people dropping like flies is actually people that are now being unalived, okay? People that are passing. Things that are coming after them are probably real because they know things. They've seen things, they've done things, they've learned things, they know things. They cannot be left to divulge these things. They're not protected enough by higher frequency beings. They haven't aligned themselves in that way. So they're not familiar with those types of beings. They've never tried to, they've never done that. All they've ever known is that they've been told, if you leave, you're probably not going to be allowed to stay alive. But they don't necessarily come after them and leave any evidence of it. They're influenced to unalive themselves, so then it's just deemed a self-unaliving, right? There's other people, I think, that are going to be losing their income, right? Everything is coming back to them. Losing their income, losing their hours, losing their health, losing their job, losing their car. People don't want to be around them anymore for whatever reason. Or, there's no honor among thieves. So everybody's turning and going their own way. Everybody's throwing everybody under the bus. But people are going to be on the sex offender list. People are going to be arrested. They're going to be going to jail. They're going to be prosecuted. They're not getting away with having drugs or dealing drugs anymore. And they will not be protected by any of their fellow demons that are in law enforcement, private investigation. I had gone to a private investigator for help about what this person was doing. my neighbor all the time. And somehow they seemed to even know where I was going. So they didn't know. He wasn't nice, okay? He was not nice at all. And there was no way to really determine if my phone was being tracked or how or why. How could it have been tracked? It was the telepathic communication that this person was connected to me, okay? And this was destiny. This was supposed to happen this way. That connection is gone, and I can freely speak about everything now because there's these other messages coming from these other intuitives talking about dropping like flies, a warlock attacking, now passing, cut off. So that's the intuitive message for today. These are some of the experiences that I've had. Eventually, and if you go back to the live that I did last summer where I actually showed the candle and the image, there's more to that story, okay? I don't know what these things are, where they're from, what they're called, what their names are, what faction of this network they're in. But this is what I've experienced, and fortunately I've been able to evolve from it. I've healed the illness I had from it, and I have gotten rid of those that were attacking me. They were helping this demon. He had nothing but a big promotion coming. And so it was a relentless attack, no matter how many months it had been. When I said goodbye, and that was the end of it. And like I said, the only resolution really is for the entire body to pass away. And if they're in this wasteland or this earthbound, right, an earthbound spirit, to have someone come and cross them over and go into the light and be reborn. And maybe that's the whole purpose of this. You know, we're all evolving. We're all evolving. I don't know if there's ever a case of a demon becoming a human. I don't know. I've never heard. I'm just sharing with you what I've actually been told by these other intuitives about them having to remain earthbound. All right. Don't get overwhelmed, please. Don't get concerned about anything coming after you. Be cautious about your energetic protection. Do your spiritual hygiene. Align yourself with your benevolent spirits, your ancestors, your spirit guides, your guardians, your angels. And if you have been suffering attacks, you probably are going to need to go to a practitioner who has heavy-hitting spirits that can actually break apart the group that is relentlessly sending things to you that affects your income, and then that affects your stress and your ability to take care of your life, because, you know, energy is real, jealousy is real, and when there's more than one, you've got to have some hard-hitting spirits to actually attack the group of demonic entities, demonic people, dark, whatever humans have gotten involved, okay, and they've been initiated. They're now dark. They're now caught up in what they believe is the way to be prosperous and protected. They literally have to be brought down. They have to be arrested. They have to be weakened. All right. So, this is a very strange new video that I am presenting, but I'll be giving you more intuitive downloads as more things happen. The house of cards that's falling, the dominoes that are falling, they have been falling from time to time, but they've been managing to get back up. This time they're not. So, without access to the network, everybody's done for. That's what I'm being told. Now, we all know that as far as the Epstein files goes, if I can even say that, I just said it, there's a lot that hasn't been resolved. But maybe now things are changing, guys. You know, maybe there's other temples that had beautiful experiences on Monday the dark moon with spirits that are bringing justice. I want to show you, I had been saving eggshells. I put them outside and dried them up, and then I put them in my coffee grinder, my magic bullet, and it made eggshell powder. So now I have that in my arsenal for protection. I'm going to try to come up with some type of working that you can do at home that could help you if you feel like you've been having constant attacks. They go away, then they come back. They go away, then they come back. All right? And I'll explain to you, it's a lot of work. You have to take a lot of time, but then you're throwing your energy and your intention into it in order to really push away things long enough for you to gain your momentum or recover. And, you know, that's always worth a try. If that doesn't work, then you're probably going to have to enlist the aid of a practitioner who has an alignment with these hard-hitting spirits. There's a big blessing going on over at the temple. I saw it yesterday. So, you know, it takes time for these people to actually be completely destroyed and incarcerated or whatever, just, you know, out of the picture. And it takes time to recover and regain your momentum, but it will happen sooner than later. No more battles. Maintain your belief and your hope and your faith. And I will probably be making more bonus videos more often as more downloads come to me. Maybe not daily, but almost. Namaste. Blessed be. Take care, and I'll see you soon.